Hi, Right Writers. Thank you so much for joining me today. In this video, we're going to be talking about theme. And if you're wondering, I think you already have a video on theme. You are correct. I do. I have a video on theme from the poem The Guitar by Patrick Phillips. However, in this case, we're going to focus instead on My Rock by Pat Morra. These two poems were the poems that I used to really start Right Writers off when thinking about a poem that you're not familiar with. You know, when you're given a poem that you're unfamiliar with, how do you write a paragraph about it? And so in that case, for both of those poems, what I did was a video on looking at the structure of the poem. But now I want to go back and revisit those poems because what I want to use those poems for in this case is theme. And so on the left side of my screen, you're going to see the poem My Rock by Pat Morra. And on the right side of my screen, you're going to see definitions that I actually used in a previous video with Patrick Phillips's work. And so what I would like for you all to keep in mind, Right Writers, is that this is all connected to what was presented in a previous video. And I wanted to use the same document that I was using for the previous poem because I want to make sure that I follow the same order and format. But again, what I wanted to do is just use a different poem. And in this case, I wanted to use the poem My Rock by Pat Morra. So please keep that in mind, Right Writers. And so let's go ahead and look at, again, reminiscing from the past video, what theme is. And again, by doing the process a second time, perhaps this video connects with you better in a different way. And then all of a sudden, aha, it clicks. I get it, Cruz. I get theme now. Thank you so much for doing this second video. So just to review our notes here, I want you to think of theme and main idea as being very similar to each other. They are very similar. They are connected. What I like to remind Right Writers is that, and I think about it also from a student perspective, how I like to remind students is, look, I want you to think of theme. Theme is connected to fiction and poetry, just like main idea is connected to nonfiction. And so keep that in mind when you're thinking about main idea and theme. There is a connection between the two, and that is that main idea is to nonfiction what theme is to fiction and poetry. So keep that in mind as we talk about theme. What is theme? Well, in thinking about it, theme is a message about life that the writer, the author, or the poet is trying to share with you. So they try to convey or share this poem, but they're really offering a message about life in some way. Theme is often hidden from the reader, so it's our job to uncover it. As the reader, our job is to uncover the theme because oftentimes the theme is hidden from the reader. Also keep in mind that there are multiple themes in a work. And so there is not just one theme. You can have more than one theme in a work. And then finally, I want you to be thinking about creation involving purpose. So when we create something, there's always a purpose behind it. Creation involves purpose. The author, the poet, the writer has a reason why they created that work. And, well, that reason comes back to the theme, comes back to this message about life that the writer or the author or the poet is trying to share. So for you, your job as the writer is to make sure that the text evidence proves the theme. You have to find the text evidence to prove your theme. Otherwise, your theme may be incorrect. If you cannot find the text evidence to prove your theme, then odds are pretty good that your theme is going in the wrong direction. Why is theme confusing to readers? Well, it's confusing to readers because themes are hidden, because a writer can have multiple themes, and ultimately the reader must zoom out. They have to zoom out and they have to really see the big picture. If you're not able to see the big picture, if you're not able to zoom out, you're going to struggle. So keep that in mind, right, writers, when we're thinking about theme before we go into our work. Now, when I think about theme, in this case, I want to look at the strategy that I use, and the strategy from Cruz is look carefully at the title. When you look carefully at the title and you look carefully at any subtitles, it will help you figure out what the theme is. And so in this case, we've got the title, My Rock, and we know it's by Pat Mora, but I want you to think about My Rock. So this title is going to help you consider one possible theme. So look at the title, and that is ultimately, right, writers, my strategy. The first thing I do is I look at the title, and then I find words, I find the text evidence that connect to that title. And so that's what I suggest first before we even go into uncovering what the theme of a piece of work is, or a poem, again, or a piece of fiction, or a novel, or a story. Always go back to the title. I know that seems very simple or simplistic. However, I believe that that is, again, a possibility that students do not often think about, and they just jump into and they start reading a work, but they don't take the time, or they don't take a moment to really look at the title. The title is given to you. It's given to you by the writer, the poet, the author. Use it to your advantage. All right, before we start looking at text evidence for My Rock, let's go ahead and read the poem by Pat Mora here on the left side of the screen. My Rock by Pat Mora. Summer's ending. I sit on my desert rock, listen to the world's hum. Crows and ravens caw, finches and sparrows chirp, a dog barks. Can I face the hall of judgments? A breeze strokes my face, brings me back to spiders and lizards busy at their chores, private conversations, sights and sounds I savor. This earth, my home. High on the vast blue canvas, clouds curl, float. Taking a deep breath, I gather myself. I bring what I am. All right, let's go ahead and take it from the top, right, writers? My Rock, Take 2 by Pat Mora. Summer's ending. I sit on my desert rock, listen to the world's hum. Crows and ravens caw, finches and sparrows chirp, a dog barks. Can I face the hall of judgments? A breeze strokes my face, brings me back to spiders and lizards busy at their chores, private conversations, sights and sounds I savor. This earth, my home. High on the vast blue canvas, clouds curl, float. Taking a deep breath, I gather myself. I bring what I am. All right, thinking about this poem by Pat Mora called My Rock, what I want to be looking for is I really want to look at text evidence that connects back to the title of the poem. And so I'm keeping some of my notes from the previous video because, again, I want to follow a very similar order, even though this is a different poem. And so, what part of the text evidence really talks about my rock? And so, if we're looking at this idea, we want to go back to my rock, the title. Where in this poem do we really see a reference to the rock? Well, if you think about it, it really happens right at the beginning of the poem, right here. I sit on my desert rock, listen to the world's hum. And here is really where we see a connection to my rock, right there. Why? Because it actually says it. It says, I sit on my desert rock, listen to the world's hum. And so I am going to use that to my advantage. And if you wanted to go a little bit deeper and go, well, she also uses this idea of listening. And where else do we notice listening? Well, we see it in other parts of the poem, which is exactly why I argue look at the title and let the title and the text evidence work together. Because there is a lot of listening happening in this poem. The idea that you're listening to the birds, to crows, ravens, finches, and sparrows chirp, crows and ravens caw, listening to a dog barking, listening perhaps to halls of judgments, listening to spiders and lizards having private conversations as they're busy at their chores, listening to sights and sounds I savor, listening to your breath, to her breath. I gather myself, I bring what I am. There sure is an awful lot of listening happening in this poem. Let's take that text evidence and use it to our advantage. And so in this case, because it's in the middle of a poem, but in a different line, I'm going to use those ellipses and I'm going to type, I sit on my desert rock. I'm going to make sure I have that comma. Listen. I'm going to use a forward slash because to the world's hum happens in line 3 of the poem. And so this is what I'm going to use to make my argument as far as what this theme, what is one possible theme. And so now I have this, and now I want to use it to my advantage. And so now, Right Writers, I'm going to take this text evidence and I'm going to use it to now come up with the theme and a message about life the writer, the author, the poet is trying to share with me. And so in this case, though, all I have are those words. So I've got to brainstorm some ideas about I sit on my desert rock, listen to the world's hum. So in this case, what is happening? So Pat Mora is, we've got first person point of view. I and my, I sit on my desert rock. So obviously, if you're calling your rock my rock, you're basically making it seem like this is my personal space. This rock is my place. So thinking about this, brainstorming ideas, the poet views the rock or may even view nature as their own. So it's their possession. So it's their own, they have ownership of it. So you could even argue poet views the rock or nature as something they possess or own in some way. Or maybe, again, I sit on my rock and so listen to the world's hum. And so this idea as maybe the poet views the rock or views nature as a place of stillness and quiet. Because again, we've got this idea of listen to the world's hum. And so I want to use this, and I'm brainstorming ideas first, thinking about what is Pat Mora trying to get across about life, about, what is her message here? The poet views the rock nature as their own. The poet views the rock nature as something they possess. The poet views the rock or nature as a place of stillness and quiet. The poet views, the rock or nature as a place of, listen to the world's hum. And maybe it's the only place to find maybe peace, to find serenity, to find stillness, to find quiet, to find solitude. So as the only place to find peace, to find solitude. This idea of stillness, quiet. So I'm putting all of those ideas together because they're all possibilities. When you brainstorm, everything is on the table. You want to be as open and flexible with your ideas as possible. You do not want to be rigid. You want to be flexible. So thinking about all of these ideas, the poet views the rock nature as their own. Poet views the rock nature as something they possess. Poet views the rock or nature as a place of stillness and quiet. Poet views the rock, the nature, that space as this desert as the only place to find peace, solitude, stillness, and quiet. And now I zoom out with some possibilities. So I want to zoom out and think of, okay, well, what are some ideas that I can come up with before I make my paragraph? What are some possibilities here? So now I can't say poet because that's not really a theme, a message about life. So what is Pat Mora saying about life? Is nature the place to go to find that peace, to find that stillness, that quiet, that solitude? Is that the place where we can listen to ourselves and be part of the world? So in thinking about this, we might say, nature provides, or nature provides a place where you can be still and quiet. Even this idea of nature, nature, rock, the desert, they're all part of it. The crows, this idea of, the finches, the dogs, the spiders, the lizards, all of those things, large and small, represent nature. There's no doubt about that. In this case, though, it's called my rock, but rocks are also a part of nature. Rocks are connected to nature. So nature provides a place where you can be still and quiet. Nature provides a place of solitude. Nature, a place of solitude. Of solitude. We'll go with that. Another possibility is nature. Thinking about nature views the rock. The poet views the rock as a place of stillness and quiet. Nature provides, stillness, peace. So thinking about that, nature provides a place of solitude. Nature provides stillness and peace. And so we zoomed out and we considered some theme ideas and possibilities. Of course, there are more theme possibilities. However, we use those first to then come up because they connect with this title of the poem, and that keeps it safe. That keeps our ideas safe, and then we're able to construct a paragraph from these ideas. And that's how we can now construct our paragraph on theme. And writers, ultimately, this is my process. This is the process that I use to come up with a paragraph on theme. This is how I do it. This is how I construct my own themes for poems, for any fictional work, is I use the title, I use what the author gives me, and then find the text evidence, and then use that to then brainstorm and come up with my own ideas of what are possible themes to this particular work. So what I'm deleting here are specific examples that I gave, or specific paragraph from the previous work in the paragraph. And now we're going to go ahead and construct our paragraph based on what we have from Pat Mora's work, My Rock. And so now we've got this text evidence. Let's go ahead and construct this paragraph. Let's see what we can come up with. So in this case, I may want to start it a little bit of a different way. And if we wanted to start with the theme first, let's try that. So let's jump in and give it voice and start it with the very first sentence. So let's start with nature provides a place where one can be still and quiet. And so instead of saying, we can say you. So let's start it. Nature provides a place where you can be still and quiet. And if we use you, this is second person. If we wanted to make it more formal and make it third person, we can change the you to one. And all of a sudden, our writing just got more complex, or we just elevated what we're saying. Nature provides a place where one can be still and quiet. But if you want to keep it more casual, you can use the pronoun you. Again, some of your teachers or professors may want a more formal tone in your paragraph, and I offer that as a possibility. Instead of saying you, use one instead. And so now I've got this. Nature provides a place where you can be still and quiet. This sentence, or this theme, or this represents one possible theme conveyed in Pat Mora's work, or in Pat Mora's poem titled My Rock. And by doing that, now you've offered the theme first, and it's what you start off with, and there's a confidence connected to that. There's a confidence with that. And now we can go into a definition for theme. So we can say something like, writers use themes to send a message about life to their readers. And if I wanted to expand on that and use sort of an interesting different transition word, I could say something like, however, comma, it is up to the reader to pick up on that message. And now we can go into the text evidence. So we want to use this text evidence, Control C, and then I'm going to use it down here and make sure that it's in my paragraph. However, it is up to the reader to pick up on that message. And we can say something like, in Mora's work, she states, or she tells us, she states, let's go with she states, and then I'm going to use this text evidence. She states, I sit on my desert rock, listen to the world's hum. And so in this case, we can maybe say something like, when, listen to the world's hum. When she, because we already said Mora before in Mora's work, when she is, again, nature provides a place where you can be still and quiet. When she is alone, Mora tunes in on the space. I sit on my desert rock, listen to the world's hum. When she is alone, because we have this idea, views the rock as her own, something she possesses, place of stillness is and quiet, the only place to find peace, solitude, stillness, and quiet. When she is alone, Mora tunes into, well, I like that because tuning into something is listening to something. So when she is alone, Mora tunes into the sounds which surround her. I like that. I like where this is going. So when she is alone, Mora tunes into the sounds which surround her. For Mora, nature is a place. We've got nature provides a place where you can be still and quiet. Let's take it from the top right, writers, and sort of see where we are. Again, that's always my go-to when I think about how am I going to set this up. As far as creating my next sentence, I always go back to the beginning. You'll see that over and over again. That's definitely one running theme in Cruz's videos. She always goes back to the beginning of the paragraph. Nature provides a place where you can be still and quiet. This represents one possible theme conveyed in Pat Mora's poem titled My Rock. Writers use themes to send a message about life to their readers. However, it is up to the reader to pick up on that message. In Mora's work, she states, I sit on my desert rock, listen to the world's hum. When she is alone, Mora tunes into, when alone, Mora tunes into the sounds which surround her. For Mora, those sounds provide, I sit on my desert rock, listen. For Mora, those sounds offer, an opportunity, and it's really, because you can kind of reflect and think about nature provides a place where you can be still and quiet. For Mora, those sounds offer an opportunity. Let's go with that. For Mora, those sounds offer an opportunity. Therefore, and I kind of like this because I'm coming back to, what is that opportunity? Well, that opportunity to have a place where you can be still and quiet. Therefore, one theme she presents could be, and again, that could be keeps us safe here. Nature provides a place where you can be still and quiet. Let's take a look take it from the top and notice, writers, how I ended where I began. Nature provides a place where you can be still and quiet. This represents one possible theme conveyed in Pat Mora's poem titled My Rock. Writers use themes to send a message about life to their readers. However, it is up to the reader to pick up on that message. In Mora's work, she states, I sit on my desert rock, listen to the world's hum. When alone, Mora tunes into the sounds which surround her. For Mora, those sounds offer an opportunity. Therefore, one theme she presents could be nature provides a place where you can be still and quiet. And just thinking about this as, again, a paragraph in thinking about theme and going through the process of theme. And so I hope this, right, writers, that this offered you an opportunity, another opportunity to look at theme. And maybe this particular poem connected with you more. And you were like, oh, I get it. I get theme now. I get where Cruz is going with this. And so really that's what this video is about, is to provide for you another opportunity to look at theme, look at how theme connects back to our title, and construct a paragraph, an upper level paragraph, a middle school paragraph, a high school paragraph, where you use the title, use that connection to figure out what is the message about life that the poet, the writer, the author is trying to convey, is trying to get across to me. Thank you so much, Right Writers, for tuning into this video. Again, I hope this was helpful. I hope this ensures your success. Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.